With the 19th pick in the 2024 NBA Draft, the Toronto Raptors select this young man, Jacoby Walter, out of Baylor. Won Big 12 Freshman of the Year, leading Big 12 freshman with 14.5 points per game last season. Dynamic shooter, deep range, consistent mechanics. Set a Baylor record for most points by a freshman in his debut when he scored 28 against Auburn in November, becoming the first Big 12 freshman to reach that mark against a power conference opponent in his first game. Jacoby Walter headed to the Raptors. What do you think of this pick?
I think it's solid. It's slightly redundant with them taking Grady Dick last year because the upside with Jacoby Walters is a shooter. Now, he attempted over 6 threes per game this year at Baylor, only made about 34% of them. But he's not a creator. He's not someone who puts it on the floor. He's not a passer either. This is not someone who manufactures offense for himself and others. At his best, he spaces the floor, and sometimes he provides movement shooting. That's what you hope you get out of him long term. But given that they utilized a pick like that on Grady Dick last year, I don't love it. This is a team that has historically prioritized length and athleticism in the middle of the lineup. Jacoby Walter's a little bit of an undersized wing for me. I think if they could have found someone to give him a little more athletic pop in the middle of the lineup, that might have been what they needed.
You haven't, hold on, you haven't given a C yet. You haven't given an official C.
Because there's high.
Okay, because that's what it sounded like you were about to give a C. No?
No, I'm going B.
You're going to B.
There's positive outcomes available.
Okay.
It's not a bad pick.
Yeah, in a vacuum, I like Jacoby Walter. I had him as a top 10 prospect on my personal big board, so I'd be thrilled to get him at this range in the draft. I understand the fit concerns, but you've got to hope that the shooting is better than what the statistics show, and I think most people do. I remember, I don't have the number right in front of me, but Bradley Beal at Florida did not shoot a good percentage, but nobody had concerns about him as a shooter. And then when he got into the NBA, it was very quickly obvious that the shooting is no problem. In fact, it's a positive. I think the same thing will be true with Jacoby Walter. I'm not saying he's going to shoot it like Bradley Beal. I just think he's a better shooter than he showed in this 1 year at Baylor.
And I think this is all about Scotty Barnes. This offense is a ball-dominated, point-forward type of an offense where he's going to drive, dribble, driving kick, penetrating pitch. He needs outlets, really guys to space the floor. You know, when you look at Jacoby, he needs to improve his game off the dribble. But he's a catch-and-shoot guy. He's got great form, great mechanics, high-level competitor, averaged 19 points in those 2 games in the NCAA tournament for Baylor. I like when guys perform well in the NCAA tournament.
All right, let's bring back Matt Norlander. And Matt, you've seen him play multiple times. What's your evaluation of Jacoby Walter?
I think he is a wait-and-see prospect. I want to pride ourselves on this draft broadcast to not absolutely gas up and goose up every single pick here. We'll see with Toronto. I can envision a scenario in which this doesn't necessarily work out. He has a lot of enticement to his game. He had some really bright moments, but the shot still needs work. The data points that were in after 1 year at Baylor showed an inconsistent shooter. Jacoby Walter has the general idea of a game. In fact, Adam Finkelstein earlier on our show kind of went this direction with Cody Williams. To a certain extent, Walter had certainly higher highs. The fit is a bit surprising. I almost wonder if Toronto wasn't expecting to have Walter sitting there for them at 19. So this becomes a big board situation where he's obviously ranked at that point. They want to take him in there, but we will see. I don't know if he's a surefire guaranteed hit here, but let's be honest, guys. Let's go back to what we talked about this entire draft and leading up to it. This is not a very sexy draft. It's not considered a deep draft. It doesn't have a lot of star power at the top, so it could be just as likely that Jacoby Walter is a hit and miss as Jacoby Walter winds up being one of the 6 best players from this draft, because we are all expecting a couple of names taken post-lottery to ultimately prove to be much better than the guys that went before.
And then you also got to think about Gary Trent Jr. is an unrestricted free agent. So are they thinking maybe potentially we won't be able to sign him, re-sign him, and if he walks, this guy, you know, he'll fit right in with this team?